Good morning from the Water Utilization Learning Center. My name is Brian Olson. I'm out here with Mark Reiman, the agronomist, and looking at a really good looking soybean field, and that's moving along and filling pods. And so there are some hidden dangers out here in this field, and one of them is a soybean stem borer. And so Mark, you think you've identified something with the soybean stem borer?
Yeah, so just out here scouting for diseases and insects, general things. But if you go along and you find a leaf that looks basically like it just died, you can tell it's discolored and wilted, you can actually pull that plant and identify that leaf. And what you'll find is, at that point, you'll pull it off of there and you'll see a little kind of brown feeding in that leaf axil, and actually it'll go up and down the leaf. Sometimes the stem borer will actually tunnel all the way up and then back in, and then eventually it decides to go into the main stem of the soybean plant.
So right there's the little hole that you're
Yep.
Wanting to, or you're not wanting to see, but is the soybean stem borer going down, the larva going down into the main stem.
Yeah, so that's kind of a telltale sign of it. It indicates, if you see that, it's not disease or something else of that nature that killed the leaf. And then you can go in there, you can see where it fed around. But this one, we'll see if we can find it, that it's gone into the stem or not. So it has moved into the stem just a little bit, and you can actually see, when I was breaking it, I think I kind of broke him, but the tiny stem borer there. So right now they're really small. The soybeans are at about the R5 growth stage. Eventually what'll happen is it'll tunnel all the way up and down the stalk, and your concern really isn't with the stem borer necessarily hurting that pith and causing a lot of yield loss that way. You're really more concerned about direct yield loss from lodging at the end of the season.
Yeah, and so this is going to be one more thing that contributes to breakage out there in the field. You get those stem borer, when that soybean plant dries down, will then go down to the base of the plant and girdle that right at the soil surface, and then that stem will be very prone to snapping off right before harvest. And so in some fields where we've applied a fungicide, there might be decreased senescence out there, have a little bit more growing condition, and so maybe that soybean stem borer larva is not going to be as impactful in those fields that have had a fungicide applied.
Yeah, but that seems to be the case. That just they're waiting for that stem moisture to get low to girdle it. And where you keep that health longer, it doesn't happen as early. So you do want to go out there and really scout your fields, because, you know, if you happen upon one that's, you know, severely infected, let's say 30-40% of plants have a stem borer in them, you know, that's going to become a concern if you let that stand very long past when the soybeans are ready to harvest. If you get a big wind, if you mentioned the stem gets girdled and it breaks off like a clean break right at the bottom, and then the soybean plant's laying there and you can't pick it up with your combine. So it is a really good idea to go get an idea of what's out there in your fields. You know, it's easy to see the dead leaves right now, but you can cut into stems and things like that just to get a picture of what's out there.
All right, well, definitely one more thing to add that we need to make sure we're scouting our soybeans for. But again, this is a good looking field, and but there are some hidden dangers out there that we want to make sure we got a good idea if we've got a problem or not. So any final thoughts, Mark?
Just, you know, we see a lot of them here in south central Nebraska. Maybe if you move way north, you kind of run out of the range of them, but it does seem like it's something that's creeping north a little bit on us every year. It was, you know, seen very commonly in Kansas, and it's in south central Nebraska, and it seems to be moving north. So it's just another thing, like you said, you know, maybe a few years ago you didn't worry about it. Now it's something you want to go out there and scout your fields for, so you don't have some yield losses at the end or some problems you weren't anticipating.
All right, well, with that, we will talk to you in the future about other agronomic topics from the Learning Center.
Thanks for watching this video from the Gothenburg Water Utilization Learning Center. For more information, please call 308-537-4500.